All right, so we are going to, I don't know what the hell we're doing right now. What the f? What the f? I don't know what the f is going on. But we're going to move forward. All right, we are back on this flip scooter again. We've made quite a bit of progress on there. As you can see, we've gotten, whatever, it's my word. We have got quite a bit done on it as far as paint. We do have some of the decals on there already looking good. Now all we need to do is just get it running a little better, and then we can just button up the rest of it and get it up for sale. Okay, we're gonna give it some information to go off of here. All right, I'm working on a 2002 Manco Moped 50cc scooter. The carburetor has been changed out to a U-All CB1213 carburetor, and I'm wondering, where should I start with main jet and pilot jet, comma? It starts up fine, but once it's under a load, bogs out horribly with no power. Okay, let's see what it has to say here. We put in the year, the type of carburetor it is, explained kind of what it's doing. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. It says, sounds like you're dealing with a jetting mismatch. That's killing your power under load. For a 2002 Manco 50cc 4-stroke scooter running a U-All CB1213 carburetor, which is a common Chinese style GY6 clone carb, here's a solid place to start with your jetting and what to troubleshoot. So it's saying start with a main jet of 80 to 85 and a pilot jet of 35 to 38. I'm not sure what's in there right now, so we're gonna tear into it and find out. All right, we've got this carburetor, and I am going to tear off the bottom of it. I thought the guy that we got this from said it was a brand new carburetor, but I'm starting to think it may not be. Yeah, there's just a lot of gunk right in here. So we're gonna tear it apart and find out. Yeah, it might just have too big of a jet in there, giving it too much fuel, because it really sounded like it was bogging out. A 93. All right, we've got this other jet kit that came with this scooter, but I swear to God this thing says Y93, but the package says they go up in increments of 5, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. I'm gonna get a magnifying glass, because I can't see. All right, we're just gonna slap this back together. What I did was I took out, it had a 95 jet in there, and it just felt like when I was trying to run it, it was just bogging, which means it's getting too much fuel. So I put a 90 in there. We're gonna slap this back on and see if it makes any difference without changing anything else. Okay, front intake boot back on. All right, we're gonna get this carburetor hooked back up and try it out. We'll be right back. Okay, so I think I told you, it told us to start with an 80 or an 85 pilot jet. I got the carburetor off there and I got the fuel bowl taken off of it. Found out that we were running a 75 main jet and a 35 pilot jet. ChatGPT suggested that we start with an 80 to 85 main jet and a 35 to 38 pilot jet. So I'm going to swap in a 38 pilot jet and an 80 main jet. It also said the needle positioning needed to be at position 3. It was actually at position 2, which is up 1, which is going to make it way more lean, I believe. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get a 38 and an 80 put into this. I've already adjusted the needle to the 3rd position. I'm going to get these put in, get the carburetor put back on, and then we're going to take it for a little test drive and see how it does. Okay, we just took it out for a test drive, and unfortunately, it seems to idle okay. It still needs some adjustments, but man, we'll get out and get going. But then as soon as you go to give it gas, full throttle, it like bogs out and then kicks back in, and then bogs out and kicks back in. Let's find out what ChatGPT has to say about it. Okay, I switched the needle position to number 3. I put an 80 main jet in with a 38 pilot jet. When I took it out for a cruise, it just wants to bog out the minute you start giving it full throttle. It'll kind of bog out and then kick back in. Okay, it says, sounds like you're real close, but it's still a bit lean on the main jet or needle. Bogging at full throttle, especially if it surges or kicks back in after. It is a classic sign that you're starving for fuel on the top end. Let's break it down. So my current setup, I got a main jet 80, pilot jet 38, needle clip 3rd position, air fuel mixture screw is about 1.6 0.75 to 2 turns out. Starts and idles fine, but bogs at full throttle under load. Bump the main jet up, try an 85 or an 88. If you've got a pod, filter, or gutted intake, you almost definitely need more fuel at wide open throttle. Bogging / kick-in cycle is often the carb struggling to deliver enough fuel when the light is fully up. So needle, try moving the clip 1 notch lower to position 4. This raises the needle and richens the mid to 3/4 throttle. All right, so we got some things to try here. I am going to get on this, and then we will get back with you and let you know what changes we've made. All right, we have got everything back installed. We switched from an 80 to an 85 main jet. I switched the needle positioning from 3 to 4, and that's really all we did. So we're gonna give it a whirl here and see if it might run any better. All right, here goes nothing. That might be a good idea to hook up the fuel line. Duh. How about now? Oh, it's already sounding better. Let's take this thing for a cruise. When I was revving it up, when it was on its stand before, it was bogging out. And this time it doesn't seem to be bogging out when I'm revving it up, so we're gonna give it a try. All right, we tried that out, and it's definitely better, but it's still wanting to bog out. I got more speed out of it this time before it bogged out. We're gonna see what ChatGPT has to say about it now. All right, I moved the needle position to the number 4 spot, and I put an 85 main jet in it. Definitely runs a little better now. It's still wanting to bog out on the upper end of the throttle. Sounds like you're headed in the right direction. Since you're still getting bogging at the top end, you're probably still a little lean and wide open throttle. That pod filter is demanding a lot more fuel, and an 85 main jet may still be on the small side for your setup. Try an 88 or a 90 main jet. That's typically the sweet spot for 50cc GY6 engines running a pod filter and stock exhaust. If you already have a performance exhaust, you may even need to go up to a 92 or 95. Well, I don't have an 88 that I know of, so we're gonna throw a 90 in it and see what that does. All right, we will try that. 90 it is. All right, we have got the carburetor taken off. We got the 90 main jet put back in, or put in. We removed the 85. We are going to see how this works, and we'll let you know. We're gonna take it for a test drive. Let's see how it fires up here. And I did connect the gas line this time. Bonus. Still cutting out at that top end. Now let's just take it for a little ride and see what it does. All right, we're back, and that was the best test ride yet, but still not perfect. It is still bogging out, so I'm guessing it's gonna tell us we need to jump to a 95 main jet, but that was the fastest I was able to ever get going on it, and it seemed to bog out higher up into the throttle rather than right off the get-go. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about it. Okay, I switched out to a 90 main jet, took it for another test ride, and it's definitely running better, but still wanting to bog out at the very upper end of the throttle. All right, it says go up to a 90 or a 92 or a 95 main jet. Well, I don't have a 92, so I'm gonna go to a 95. If that fixes the bog, you're golden. Duh. If it gets worse, sputtery rich, you'll know the 90 is your max. Next step is to try with a temporarily restrict the airflow slightly to the intake, because it is running a air pod right off the tube, so it's getting a lot more air in there than if it had an air box on it. All right, so we're gonna yank the carb off for the 85th time and put a 95 jet in there and see what that does. Stay tuned. All right, we are back installed, and I did remember to hook up the gas line, so that's a plus. Let's put it on its center stand and see how she does. And it might be a little better. Might have to adjust that idle up though. All right, we're gonna take it for a drive here. It doesn't want to idle really good right now, but we'll figure that out.
A few moments later.
All right, welcome back, guys. Hey, new day, new ideas, but surprise, surprise, we got Austin here. So we have been battling it out with ChatGPT. I think we've got the jetting where it needs to be, but it just is not cooperating still mid to full throttle.
Yep, so I kind of been talking with Shane a little bit, getting a little backstory of what he's done to it. I'm just going to take it on a little ride instead of just running and riding, so I'm going to see what it does and see if I can't come up with a little bit different of an idea of what to try now. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's got power. It just like, once you get in the mid RPMs, it just kind of dies out.
We're working on the same 50cc scooter again and wondering if it might be the CDI box that's causing issues. What says you? About 20 to 30% of aftermarket CDIs, even NCY and good brands, seem to have quality control issues. I got to thinking about this. I had told ChatGPT that I bought this scooter with an 80mm big bore kit, not installed, but in a box, ready to be installed. The gentleman also said he had installed a new carburetor on it. If someone was going to put a big bore kit on there, that surely means that they're going to have to upgrade to a bigger carburetor. And sure enough, I think we got too big of a carburetor on there. And when you're giving it full throttle, the vacuum cannot keep up with the fuel delivery, and that's why it's bogging out. I went ahead and ordered a new carburetor for it, but I have to say, the carburetor that came on the scooter when I got it wouldn't even barely make the thing move on a flat surface. If you had it on its center kickstand, it would rev right up and sound like it's gonna go 100 miles an hour. But you get it under a load and it was absolute garbage. And ChatGPT got that turned around. We got jetting into the wrong carburetor, I'm assuming, that actually made it run and ride. So that's a huge win, but also it was bringing up and suggesting things as other things weren't working. And that's where we're at right now. So I am going to put a new carburetor on here, the one that is suggested for this exact scooter, and we will be back to see if that solves our problem. All right, shiny new carburetor that's gonna go on this beast. All right, we got the new carburetor installed. I replaced part of the fuel line because one of the ends was cracked, and we don't need any other issues to hang us up right now. We're gonna try this new carburetor out, turn it over, and see what it does. I'm gonna take the spark plug out really quick just to see what it looks like since we were running it with the wrong carburetor setup this whole time. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably not the plug. Looks pretty clean. All right, guys, here's where we're at. We left you off with putting a new carburetor, an 18mm carburetor on there instead of the 24. We installed that carburetor, and now it just has zero want to even try and fire over. Look, I think we've gone as far as we can on the jets. Could it be something else? Might be, it's very slight chance it's the stator, be the coil. I don't think that's the problem. But what it keeps coming back to now, based on the symptoms, is that it needs the valves adjusted.
What?
The valve lash is off, which
way.
can cause the timing to be off, which can cause zero spark. Even though the spark plug is getting good spark, I think that's what we're gonna start with here. We are gonna take this thing apart and we're gonna adjust the valves and see if we can't get that going.
All right, so we've gotten this left side fully, actually right side of the scooter fully taken apart. There's a timing mark on the stator magneto. So I have that timing mark lined up to where it should be. Now we're gonna take the valve cover off and just make sure that that is looking right. I already got the 2 bottom bolts loose. For 8mm, pop off. Now, okay, so there's a marking right here. That hole needs to be towards the front, and then 2 little holes straight up and down. So actually that is right. So that being said, the next step is going to be to check the valve. So we're gonna have to go and run to Harbor Freight, get a feeler gauge.
Always Harbor Freight, baby.
And then we'll loosen, I believe this is a 9mm, maybe an 8mm. Loosen this so we can get some slack in there, and then we will figure out if it's at the correct valve lash. So we're gonna get it to a 0.004 or a 0.1mm lash. So let's go run and get a feeler gauge so we can double check this. And if that is looking correct, we'll see what to chase down next. But timing looks good, so that's a good step. All right, so we actually found a little feeler gauge. This is a 0.004 or a 0.10mm. And so before I loosen it, I'm just gonna check what it's sitting like now. It actually slides in with a little bit of resistance. That one actually kind of went in pretty easy. So I'm gonna see, maybe it's gap too big. Let's try a 0.005 or a 0.127mm. Okay, well it's not, so it doesn't fit in. That one's all right. So I think that one's okay.
Man,
That's the intake.
Pro tip, make sure and check the valve lash for your scooter. Yours could be different.
Now let's try the exhaust. This is gonna be a little bit harder too. Oh, that one went in really easy. I'll try 0.05. Okay, the exhaust is not right. We gotta tighten the exhaust up.
See, that's what I was saying.
Even a 0.05 goes in. Let's try 0.06. Even a 0.6, that's what it is. Yeah, so we're gonna tighten that up a little bit. So in order to do that, we're gonna grab, let's see if it's a 9. Okay, so I'm gonna need a little pair of pliers so I can adjust this. Anything, it's just, there's a square head. There's a special tool to adjust that, or pliers will work too. And then a small ratchet.
Harbor Freight, baby.
Always Harbor Freight, baby.
Always Harbor Freight, baby.
Loosen that a little bit. Now, I'm going to get the feeler gauge. You can actually even use your hand to tighten that.
Cue the Jeopardy theme music. Torquing on that nut right now is not going to change that valve lash.
No, as long as you don't touch the square in the middle.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's what changed it. And this
Boys
is
and girls, don't touch the square in the middle.
unless you're trying to loosen or tighten your valve. So that looks good. I don't know if that's going to be our save all. I know on these little 50 cc's and 150 cc's, the incorrect valve lash does cause a lot of problems.
Pro tip. Incorrect valve lash can cause more issues than you think.
We're gonna go ahead and throw the valve cover back on, tighten the 4 8mm bolts, throw the spark plug back in, and we'll see you before we test fire. All right, so spark plug is in, valve cover is on and tight. Put the magneto back on. We don't need the cooling fan on to start it. It's got fuel.
Get a little shot of starting fluid. That's more than I got after replacing the carburetor. So the one thing I'm thinking, since we switched back to this regular carburetor, is we may have to pull that carb off and adjust the jets because it's not an air box. So it's getting a lot more airflow than a normal stock carburetor and air box.
With the idle air screw at all?
I haven't even touched it. Are you gonna use your finger driver?
Yep. That's all the way in.
It's running on its own.
If I ride it like this.
We can throw the seat on.
All right, well, it's not fully buttoned up yet, but I just wanted to take on a little test ride and see what it's doing. That's a good sign. I think we're on the right track, but it definitely needs some carb tuning now.
So I think we need to change out the jet because it doesn't have an air box. I think we need to we'll ask ChatGPT.
You're running a uni-pod filter on your Manco Horn at 50cc, so it's breathing a lot more air than stock. That definitely requires upjetting.
All right, so got the carb off. I'm gonna take off the bowl and see what the jetting is looking like stock. And then before we put it back on the bike, I will also reset the air fuel mixture screw to 2 1/4 out.
And what were they saying to move that pilot jet to?
I don't remember, but it doesn't help that it's not marked.
No markings anywhere?
No marking.
Well, the unit filter, you want your main jet to an 85 to 95.
Yeah, there's no markings either.
So we'll start at an 85, or no, it said start at a 95.
Yeah, and work your way down.
And then pilot jet, unit filter, you might need a 38 or 40.
You want to maybe see on the ad that you bought this from if it says what jets it comes with. So I think we're gonna have to go 94 or 96. What do you think?
Go 94.
Or 98.
94, because it doesn't say any more than 95.
And then what is it for the main or the pilot?
They said it should be a 35. It's probably a 35, and it may need a 38 or a 40.
Okay, so that is now back on. Fuel is connected. So unfortunately, what was in the carburetor, you know, cheap Chinese stuff, not marked at all. So we're just gonna go off what ChatGPT said. We threw in a 94 main jet. We didn't have a 95. We had a 94 or 96. So we threw in a 94 to start.
I have a 95 in that other kit that I can't find right now.
And then a 40 pilot jet. And then I also reset the air screw mixture. Let's see if it'll start. Okay, so I'm next with the air mixture screw.
Bringing it in or out?
Out.
What was it before? 2 1/4?
Yep, it's 2 1/4 right now. I'm gonna bring it up to probably 3.
To 3?
Yeah, just to see what it does.
Get that small one that I had. It was a black and gray handle. Oh, did I put it back in here? I did. It's right where I left it. Whoops.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel right. Let's just see what it's doing. definitely idle and 0-4 throttle needs
And maybe once we get that cleaned up, the rest will clean up.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, let's go tell ChatGPT Tizzle what we found.
So I'm gonna try and turn the screw in all the way and see what it does.
Before we change any more jets?
Yep. So let's come over here real fast and just see what that does. It's definitely better. So it definitely wants more fuel for the pilot.
So a bigger pilot? And what did we put in there?
A 40. So we want to like probably a 45.
Man, I got a good feeling about this jet combo right here.
I'm hoping so. Dive back into here. Okay, so to recap with us again. I'm sorry for boring you, but we have to go through it. So do you guys. We now have a 45 pilot jet. I went ahead and backed the air fuel mixer screw
We're
back
still
out.
at a 94 main.
Yep, still a 94 main as wide open throttle felt pretty damn good. Backed air fuel mixer screw back out to a 1.5 turns as on that last test drive, I had it all the way in, fully bottomed out.
Maybe back that screw back in, tiny bit. Because 1.5 from 0 is quite a bit.
We also upped the jet by 5.
That's true.
Okay, that's a turnout. So I put it in half a turn. Let's see what it does. I think I'm gonna try and turn it back out a half turn and then see if I can just up the idle to get it to run
air
right.
fuel mixer screw out another half turn.
Correct.
Where were we at right now? 1?
1 turn out.
So we'll go back to 1.5 and up the idle.
As far as the thing can go.
Weird.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go to a 42 jet because with the 40 jet, I had to turn it all the way in and I noticed that it was a little bit better. And the 45 jet, it's just flooding it. So let's go to a 42 jet, put it 2 turns out, double check the spark plug, make sure that's not fouled out, see what happens then. So, okay, so car's back on. We got a 42 pilot jet now, and it is 2 turns out. Okay, so I think we told you guys, got a 42 jet now, and it is 2 turns out. Unfortunately, we lost the starter, so that's another problem.
Let me get the screwdriver. How you guys doing? So I know where we left off. I told you that we said the starter had gone out on us. I ordered a new starter. I probably should have just checked a couple other things first because it wasn't technically the starter that was out. We found out that it is the gear on the Variator, and it was missing about 1/3 or 1/4 of its teeth.
See all those teeth chewed up inside the cover?
Yeah, so that was the noise we were hearing.
Didn't realize that until after he replaced the starter with a new one and went to go start it, and the exact same sound kept coming. No, not biting at all.
We got a new gear.
I'll show you guys the gear as well real fast. Right in here, you can see nice teeth, and then it's missing a whole bunch right there. Gonna have to replace a couple things. All right, so we just got the new gear in, replaced the Bendex gear, the flywheel gear, Variator, rollers, CVT cover cleaned out and put back on.
All right, we're gonna get it dialed in here and take it for a cruise.
All right, so got it buttoned up enough to go take it on a test ride. Bogging out a little bit. I think I wanna. It's running really good though. Hell yeah! All right, So I think she's actually running good for the first time since we've owned this thing. So what we didn't show you guys is after undoing all the stuff the previous owner did, like the Variator gear and all that kind of stuff.
Putting a spark plug back in it.
Yeah, that main thing right there. We had to go back into the carb. The jetting was for all this stuff we had to undo. So back to an 85 main jet and a 38 pilot jet. And it is running so much better. Finally. So now that we have it running right, we're gonna get this thing buttoned up, get it fully put back together, and it's time to post this thing on Marketplace and see if we can't get some profit in our pocket after all this work. This one definitely gave us a run for our money, and sorry if we dragged it off a little long. We're probably gonna cut out a lot of the stuff that we did, so you're not gonna see everything that we had to go through, but
Like this.
yeah, just yeah, okay. But just want to let you guys know, these things are temperamental. So if you're going through a similar problem, you're not the only ones. It's just finicky. Just keep going at it. Use ChatGPT if you have access to it, which most people do. It's a super helpful tool, and it kept giving us more things to try, even though we felt dumbfounded. We're like, what do we do next? Why is it not working? I'm very happy we're done messing with this thing. It's running now, so let's get this thing posted up and get it for sale.
Alright guys, thanks for watching that video. I know it was a little bit longer than our normal videos, but we want to just prove out there that ChatGPT can be an incredible resource for people that especially aren't mechanically inclined, because it can really walk you through the steps. Did we go through way more steps than we probably needed to? Yes. Did it take more time than it probably needed to? Yes, but not what we were trying to prove. Just trying to illustrate that ChatGPT can be that extra set of eyes and that extra brain that helps you guys figure out what you need to do. So stay tuned for the next video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Man, that really helps the YouTube algorithm out there, which can be quite a beast to figure out. So until next time, RevRender out.
As always, thanks for watching. Tune in every Tuesday and Saturday for new videos. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Those likes really help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, RevRender out.